We have ourselves our third team locked into playoffs. DMG looking into that position. We still don't know the seed itself, but they already locked themselves a position into playoffs, which means they're also going to EMEA Masters. Verdant on the other side are removed from the play towards playoffs, and they are no longer allowed to play for that situation. We need to break down the game to understand what happened, because it looked like, hey, Verdant were playing really well yesterday. They were fighting with all they had. What happened today? Was it due to the draft itself or inside mentality when they jumped into the Rift?
I think it was a little column A, little column B, to be honest. I think Verdant... They drafted themselves into a corner in this game. Only had one lane they could really attack, which was Bucci in the top lane, who, yes, they took out a couple of times, but I think Bucci did a very good job of eating that pressure and giving openings to his team. On the other side, DMG just read that. They read exactly what the game plan was. They played super well around it. They got lots of objectives. They were attacking Verdant on multiple fronts. And to be honest, it didn't look to me like a game where Verdant were playing as if this was their last chance. They were quite lethargic in that game. Like it didn't feel like they were really doing much of anything. And they go out on a bit of a whimper at the end of the split. Now, obviously, there's still 2 games left for them to play, so they can play upset. They can try and play for a better position overall at the end of the split. But I'm sure they're going to be quite disappointed with this one, because that just looked very one-sided, that game.
I honestly couldn't have agreed more, because for me, one thing that I've absolutely loved from the side of DMG in that particular game is the fact that they were able to capitalize on enemies' mistakes, right? The mistake that Verdant are doing, they're looking at it and going, all right, what we can do about it and how we can get the best out of the situation. And I feel like that showed the most when we were going towards the bit of more of a middle of a game, when we were thinking about, okay, how we're going to play the grubs, how we're going to play the dragons, how we're going to play all of these neutral objectives. And that's when things started to unravel, because you've got a good kill on the top side of the map as Verdant. You go, okay, cool, how are we going to capitalize on that? You've got grubs and you've got the enemy that is attacking the dragon. So you would think that the good idea would be to go and try to take the grubs, steal them away from the enemies and feel happy about it. They decide to coin flip on the dragon, and I feel like that when things get a little bit risky, right? Because if you want to do that risky play, make sure that you have an answer to this, that you're coming in with a very strict plan on how you're going to execute it. And that's when we saw DMG going, oh, you're doing this? Okay, that's what we've got. Bucci's going to teleport in, and we're going to have a big old fight about it.
Yeah, also another thing I want to go to, and this isn't a criticism of either team, this is actually just a kind of a wider kind of observation I've had over the last couple of weeks with this. In the NLC, we are really big on handshaking the Corki Tristana. Typically, I don't like this Tristana answer anymore. The more and more I've watched it, especially over this week, I just think the Corki wins every trade early. And sure, Tristana has amazing scaling, can offer a lot later, but I actually was preferring things like this Yone answer we were seeing coming out of 3 of our games yesterday. I don't think Tristana goes toe-to-toe with Corki as well as people seem to think she does. And overall, I think we need to start seeing people moving away from this answer. Maybe Corki just has to start getting banned from the red side team at this point, because it feels like if you first pick that Corki, a lot of these teams are forced into picking either like a Yone or a Tristana. I think the Yone has a slightly more decent chance just because Yone is a ridiculously overtuned champion. But yeah, I just personally I'm not massively sold on this Tristana answer, so I would like to see that going forwards.
That's a good question. That's why I'm going to bring it up as soon as I talk with the person who played the Corki itself. Skittrot is waiting for us on the interview and also locked in. Congratulations! Come on, give me that smile. You just locked into playoffs.
Thank you, Archero. Yeah, it feels really good. Yeah. I'm really glad we won today.
Here, pretty much talking about the Corki Tristana. How do you feel about that matchup?
I mean, for me, I prefer the Corki side a lot, because I think on the plated steel caps buy, Tristana can't really do much and she starts losing the matchup, right? That's why we did first pick the Corki, even though we had the chance to go Tristana, right? So, I mean, I for sure prefer Corki side, but I think Tristana side is playable as well. She offers like different strengths than Corki.
But also, I have another question for you about yesterday. You're locked in, so we can all smile about it. But yesterday, Bucci was not playing Bucci. Things were awkward on DMG's side. I need to understand what happened yesterday, communications. How were you feeling at the end of yesterday as well?
Yeah, I don't know. Bookie's so washed, like, isn't he? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, I think we played really bad yesterday. It's not even like Bookie's fault. I think we had like a lot of miscommunications on mid jungle and jungle bot. I don't think like we all like showed up yesterday. I'm really like sad about that, and I hope we can like make it up for playoffs somehow, because we did lose like both games against Venom Crest and both games against NORD. So that's something we really need to like focus on.
Because those teams could actually end up being the teams you have to fight on playoffs. That's scary when you're looking into that perspective. Yesterday, someone stated on the desk that DMG biggest strength, like their best player, is the fact that they play so well together as a synergy. Yep. Do you believe that, or you actually believe Bushi is so washed up that you need to have such synergy to make up for it?
No, I think that's very correct. Like when we play well, it's because all of us is like linking up together. We're connecting. We're communicating. I don't think anyone like shines a lot like in the wins. I think it's the team that shines together. That's definitely
makes sense. So if you had to pick a team that you would fight first on playoffs, who would you pick? Personal preference.
Oh, I would like to play Radi. I mean, it's not because we wanted. They are like really fun to play against, honestly.
Because of the chaos and the bloodshed.
Yes, it's a lot of fighting.
I see, man. Congratulations on getting your spot. It's well deserved. You guys did amazing throughout the entire split, so well deserved. I'll see you soon. It was a pleasure to talk to you, Sketchrod.
Thank you so much. See ya.
See ya. There you go, man. Picking Ruddy, like.
A lot of people are wanting to humble Ruddy, man. It was that interview yesterday with NORD after the fourth game, where they were like, we are bored of Ruddy kind of bullying the lesser teams. It's time someone humbles them and puts them in their place. People are coming for Ruddy, man. They are ready to take them out. Whether or not they can do it is another thing, right? Like it's a big ask to take out Ruddy, because they are.
But if you think about it,
Tell me.
if you have to aim for someone, right? If there is someone you want to play against, why not just instantly aim for the top of the mountain and go, okay, if we humble them, nothing can stop us from from our final target.
I mean, if you are a team who thinks you can win the best, win the league and be the best in the league, if you can't beat any other team, if you're like scared of another team, you're probably not good enough to actually beat them. So it's nice to see that teams aren't scared of Ruddy. They obviously recognize they're a capable team, but I don't think they think they're like leaps and bounds ahead of them, although statistically they are right now, especially if you look at the fantasy league. Each five player Ruddy absolutely killing it. But yeah, it was one thing I do want to say.
Was rigged from the start.
It was nice hearing Skaterot talk about the Corki Tristana match. He doesn't think it's one-sided as I do, but he touched on something which completely skipped my mind on why this matchup seems so miserable for Tristana, and that's plated steel caps. Triss can't build plated steel caps. I mean, she can, but like, why would you do that? It would be terrible for her. Where the Corki,
shooting your own foot.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, Corki can just build them, and he's super chill, and it literally wins the lane. So it was really interesting seeing him kind of get that insight on it. And it's something that's kind of like, I should have really picked up on, but, I'm a play-by-play, so I'm a bit of a dum-dum. And it kind of just went over my head.
You play casted champions, You like to cast abilities, and Corki is more of that sort. Well, Tristana is an AD carry, which is not your main ground, so I understand your point of view. But thankfully, you brought in the two perspectives as a mid laner, who actually has some elo. So that's important. Now, moving on to the next game, we have Venom Crest versus NORD. Oh boy, this will provide a lot of action throughout the entire map. There'll be a lot of roaming around, but it's not only about the roam itself, it's also about the top laners who have been providing constantly from Venom Crest and NORD as well. I'm biased, I'm a top laner at 100%, but when you have Lenny and Nile, I mean, you gotta give them attention. Like, these are the crème la crème. Since we're talking a little bit in French, like, this is the crème la crème, Nile and Lenny.
Yeah, these two are very, very good at the game. Very, very good. This split, I think there's been so many good contenders for like top laner. Manili has just been a consistently good top laner throughout the years he's been around on this league. He's been around for a long time at this point. This matchup, though, as much as I know you're a top lane fan and these are the guys you want to look at, for me, my eyes right now are on the NORD side. Romeo, just the guy is everywhere over the map. The Rome is in the name. Really, really solid player, but also their new player for the side of NORD here, Yoka. Yoka has seriously upset the apple cart in a good way for the side of NORD. I think there's been a massive improvements, and they were already looking good. Don't get me wrong, they are right now 8-3 in the standings. They've only dropped 3 games this season, and with the addition of a new jungler, it's felt like a big step up for the side of NORD, and it feels like that stride forwards towards Ruddy level, what came with Yoka. His champ pool's very diverse, pulls out things like the Nidalee, like we saw him play. I think that was his first game or second game or something. He pulled that out super early upon joining into the team. And yeah, I obviously I'm gonna have a little bit of a NORD bias here. I'm truly a NORD believer. I'm well aboard that hype train right now. But yeah, for me, it's Romeo and Yoka, the 2 people on the side of NORD I've got my eyes fixated on.
I have to go with Archerum though, because I'm super excited for that top lane.
Yes.
Mainly because if you look at both Nalin and Lenny, you can see that both of them have been playing a lot of different champs. I know that Lenny has 4 games on Xante, but first of all, he played a game with Skarner, which is already quite interesting since he's one of these top laners that is not afraid to pick Skarner now. And second of all, when you have both of the top laners with that amount of different champions that they can play out, and I also have to be biased towards it because Archerum, I've also been playing a lot of top this season since I absolutely enjoy it. I'm always interested in see these little skirmishes between the top laners, right? It's these little skill check matchups that happen that drag my attention, and I go, okay, I want to see them fight. You know, like a good old Irish pub fight. That's what I'm looking forward to see.
Oh man, Doctor, I love your accent. We were talking about it in the game, man, but like it's so crazy to have like a guy born in Russia with a Brummie accent. I love it. It's such a cool accent.
I'm so jealous, actually. Yeah.
Talking about the picks and bans, Brummie is genuinely my favorite accent in England. I absolutely love it. Anyway, going into the picks and bans and what we've seen, we are seeing the Yone ban. I was talking about the Yone. I'm glad to see that get taken up. A lot of jungle attention on Yoka there. You got the Ivan, the Maokai, the Sejuani banned away, but at least so many big junglers like the Lilia, Karthus, Zyra was banned away by the side of NORD, but there's so many powerful AP junglers up and available, and we know Yoka likes to play those. Instant lock-in on the Corki, no surprises there. As much as I don't like it, I do think this is a Tristana answer here, along with either like an ADC or a support.
They're trying to bait in the Nidalee.
Okay.
Forgot about him.
Yes, he was also tweaked. Keep that in mind on 14.13 as well. Last time they met, Nile and Lenny, I just want to remind everybody that Nile is the beast of the top lane. He got demolished. He got completely destroyed by Lenny. So trying to bait something interesting. Tristana and Brand. So that is going to be the rotation towards Venom Crest. I believe now as NORD, you're going to lock in the jungler and maybe the support. Let's see what Yoka is capable of bringing, because we've seen a lot of AP champions alongside that Italy. But also Romeo. You have a lot of roamers and Relics available.
Want to talk a little bit about this Brand nerf, because it actually doesn't affect Brand jungle. It was more lane focused nerf. It dealt with his mana regeneration. It did nerf his E scaling. The base levels is the same, and then it drops by a little bit. But Xin Zhao is a solid answer to that, Brand. Obviously, you do have the ability for Brand to kind of get a full combo off, but realistically, early, Brand is quite a squishy champion. Xin Zhao, a very aggressive skirmishy champion. I like this pickup here by NORD.
I feel like it's also a very, very good answer into Tristana, right? Because I believe even Initialize and Fox were talking about that in the previous game, about the rocket jump that Tristana has, right? That allows her to get out of a lot of very hard situations, very tight spots. But Xinjiao is one of these champions that are not going to allow you to do that. As soon as you get the mark in, I don't care if you're going to be jumping around, I'm still going to be able to chase you down. Right, so we've seen in the previous game how much Karthus is bringing in and how much control his presence itself with the Requiem already has. But I feel like with the addition of Xin Zhao, right now, you've been talking about the unfavored position of Tristana in the Corki Tristana handshake. I feel like right now Tristana's position is even worse because of the pickup of Xin Zhao.
Yeah, now obviously this Corki is flexible. So it could be like Hwei support or Hwei mid. Corki can then flex between ADC and support. I mean, technically we have ADC players who play the Hwei as well, though I'm looking more at Fruity Fresh on that one. But we do know that is in the wheelhouse. So NORD also haven't really revealed their hand too much here. So same with the Tristana, still technically a flexible pick. A lot of support focus coming in, though, from the side of Venom Crest. They banned the Leona, they banned the Nautilus. Not overly surprised off the back of that one. NORD actually banning the ADC pool a little bit and trimming that one down. So we could see... Well, we know that Corki or Hwei are going in bot lane or mid. So I kind of understand the emphasis on those bans coming in from them. The answer is what is the support going to be here for NORD? Or is this Hwei actually just really big brain and it's going in the support role? We will see shortly. But right now, I'm expecting this to probably just be that ADC or mid pickup here for the side of Venom Crest, depending on where the Tristana goes. Yeah, that's... I actually, if they do lock this, I really like this. I really like this. I mean, obviously we shouldn't talk others, but I'm just going to talk about it right now because you have damage. You have Tristana and you have the brand.
Never mind.
You actually add an extra layer of damage here with the Zeri. I kind of messed with the Seraphine a little bit more than the Zeri here. We'll see what the answer's going to be out here from NORD. But
I do agree though with the Seraphine because I feel like it would be a great answer to Xin Zhao, I feel like, right?
Yeah,
because
true.
especially with the Encore, whenever Xin Zhao is going to initiate into your team when the team fight is going to begin, with that Encore you can do so much disruption. Now with that pickup of Alistar, I feel like that VNC are getting closer and closer into the position when they all have to deal with so much CC that it's going to be really, really annoying. And also, I mean, yeah, sure, it does depend on the last pickup, right? It depends on the last top lane pickup. There can be a lot of things that you can theoretically look towards. So, yeah, and it's still going to provide you that CC. That's the thing, right? It's going to give you the all-out, the knock-up, anything. Or you can do Scar now.
Finally!
You can do the Scar now. And that pretty much gives you the same amount of kid that you need with Xanthi.
Right.
Tristana is going to have a bad time. Zeri is going to have a bad time. And Rel right now starts to pretty much just weep in the corner. So I love that draft from NORD.
I don't want to see this. We did see it yesterday. I don't want to see this. What I actually want to see is something like a Mordekaiser. Obviously, it does lean you heavily towards having double AP topside. The K'Sante is not terrible, but the Mordekaiser is a straight up good lane.
I agree.
For it. Because right now, Skarner's damage and Skarner's numbers are just too high. Strip 10% of those stats away from him and give them to yourself. You're going to win that fight every time. I don't particularly dislike the K'Sante because I know a lot of our players, especially Lenny and Bucci, are like two big K'Sante enjoyers in the league. I just think I would have preferred the Mordekaiser, but then again, I guess you do have a little bit of an argument of double AP topside, which means Nilly can just rushicate at Rukin or something like that. I don't know. Oh, this is a hard draft to call.
But especially the cage, right? Especially the cage of Mordekaiser. That, especially when we're talking a matchup about with Skarner. I know that this is a little bit of a one-trick pony type of thing, and Mordekaiser's ultimate is not that good because you can build a QSS in and it's going to be all fine.
No, it doesn't work anymore. QSS got nerfed. You can't QSS.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's actually true. I'm too stuck in the old paradigm
anymore. Yeah.
So that's the thing as well,
he's not
right?
picked, bringing you back into this game, though. There's a lot of CC from one side, and it's NORD. Like, let's talk about NORD. They have a lot of CC. On the other side, you have a brand, and the composition from NORD, they all play alongside each other. Only Hwei has some actual range. So Brand can benefit a lot. So when you see these two compositions, I want to get predictions before I toss it to the casters. Here, Brian, you first, then Doctor.
This is actually a very hard one to call, even prior to the picks and bans. I've got a lot of faith in NORD. I do also have a lot of faith in Brand as a champion right now, so I have to kind of give Venom Crest their due on that. I'm going to cautiously say NORD here. I'm not losing faith, but this is honestly a very hard draft for me to call.
I agree, because there's a lot of things on Venom Crest's side that I feel like are going to work really, really well. But the amount of that CC that NORD is just bringing down to the table, I can't. I feel like this is going to provide them with the win that they want. So I'm going to say NORD.
Okay, Venom Crest really needs this win if they want to look for playoffs. It doesn't lock them in, but gets them closer. And that battle is kind of heated right now. So without further ado, let's toss it to the casters who are waiting to jump into the Rifted Cell. Take it away, initialize in Fox. Don't drop.
Yeah, don't drop it, Fox. Don't. Don't drop it. Well, what happens if you drop?
Or if I
The whole camera went with that, by the way.
I think that's something different, isn't it?
I'm gonna leave that one alone. If you got apple bottom jeans on, mate, just out of interest, you know.
No comment. No comment.
So, moving swiftly back to League of Legends before we make this a very different kind of stream. Two drafts in some ways are relatively similar. Well, it turns out by the looks of it, we've got a technical pause. Once we find out what it is, we'll let you know. But until then, it gives us a moment to muse about the various drafts and see what we've got there, because it feels mostly pretty even. And we've got the Hui bot lane that's a bit of a surprise. We've also got this Xin Zhao versus Brand, who've got very different styles of game they want to play.
Yes, that's where my eyes are going to be focused on, at least to begin with. The Xin Zhao and Joker specifically, or Yoka. This man who's come through and
I'm gonna go with Yoka, I think, but until I'm told otherwise.
I know he's German, and that's the problem, because Germanic, if he was like,
it'll be a Y then, yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, this man's been doing crazy things. He's been really good in the jungle. He's really enabled, you know, some like this new era, I guess, for his team to kind of bloom and to turn into something special. And they've been really good recently, right? Like let's see, they're on a 4-game win streak so far. So
they are, yeah. They went from 4-3 to 8-3.
Yeah, the only team with more wins recently is Ruddy, who is our best team in the league. So yeah, they've been doing some really, really nice things. A bit of a slow start, but this man really has just turned on the renaissance for NORD. It's really crazy stuff, and I love Xin Zhao. I think Xin Zhao's a really, really strong champion in the meta, and there are a lot of champions around right now that are powerful laners, but don't tend to do too well when you put them under pressure, like someone like Tristana, for example, just an example there. But haven't, you know, traditionally right now in the current meta, been too many champions that really gank a lot early, right? It's a lot of farming jungles, and so these lane dominant champions can do whatever they want to do. Xin Zhao should throw a spanner in those works.
Well, not to gank our discussion, but I believe the game is ready, so let's head on to something a little more interesting, And exit stage right. Casters enter stage left the teams onto the Rift. It took us a slight moment to get in there, but I appreciate that discussion you started off there about the Xin Zhao, because it does feel like a lot of our early aggressive junglers have somewhat fallen away from being the priority they were, say, in spring, after things like the Fated Ashes and stuff have come on through. But part of that difficulty has been... What have you spotted?
Sorry. Please talk.
Sorry, I heard you always spotted something like that.
I have spotted something. I have. We can get to that after. It's cool.
That's fine. I was going to say, well, one of the big things is like trying to find magic damage somewhere in your composition, but of course, the Hui bot lane, I kind of call it surprise. It's not really for the NLC. We've got a lot of our bot lanes who really do love to bring that out in that role, and that means you can theoretically fill in something like the Xin Zhao as long as you get the magic damage from somewhere, and this time around you've got the Hui to help fill in that role.
Yeah, exactly. You do. That's also, I really quite like the meta right now in the sense of the flexibility of draft, and a lot of that is because of AP junglers and Fated Ashes being so viable. It means you can chuck a lot of, you know, more AD focused champions in your solo lanes, and of course the ability to have AP junglers, AP champions in bot side, like the way as you mentioned. So yeah, got a lot of different split rounds here, and Yoka now though. For NORD on this brand, this is what caught my attention, was the electrocute specifically here. You don't see electrocute too much on brand, right? Normally it's pretty much just a standard Dark Harvest pickup. Electrocute is much more... Hold on, can we focus, see if he gets the triple... we're not going to see it, never mind. There's a little trick you can do on brand, by the way, where you can activate your passive at level 2, even though you normally need to use 3 abilities to do it. Yeah, you have to time it right, but you can do it. It's only viable for literally 2 camps the entire game, but it does speed up the kill. If the observer can hear me, can we literally just watch Brand kill these wolves just for real quick? Is that possible? I don't know if he can hear us or not. Probably
if
not.
They're paying attention, maybe. Otherwise, you're just talking to the void.
To be totally fair, it's an odd request. Who wants to watch a jungler like you're.
I say this as a fellow jungler. I get super nerdy about that guy. They're like, oh, I can learn how pathing works, hooray!
It's a pretty cool little min-max thing, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, either way, he's level 3 now, so it doesn't matter anymore. Jake nailed it on the desk as well. There've been some brand nerfs, but that did affect him mostly as a laner because it was more directed towards his E. And Brand Jungle doesn't care about his E too much. It's purely a setup, essentially, for his Fated Ashes and AoE camps, and for his passive. He doesn't put points into his E until he's, got points in Q and W, and so yeah, it doesn't affect him at all. So yeah, Brand Jungle's still very, very strong, still viable, still rocking around. Although to be fair, next patch he's actually getting nerfed again. But
I mean, rightly so. The champion feels very strong right now. But also things I think finally we're seeing the likes of Rumble get nerfed as well. Chatting with the likes of Aragon, they're just sort of saying, look, it doesn't really feel like there's anything that wins or can match Rumble in lane right now, so he just inevitably comes out of lane with significant advantages unless people really get involved in taking the Rumble down a peg.
It's like, I saw the list of nerf champions. It was like Lilia, Nidalee, Rumble, Brand, Zyra, and I'm like, bro, Fated Ashes, mate. Fated Ashes just sitting in the corner like, it's not me, bro, it's not me. It's these guys with the drama. I'm cool, man. I'm squeaky clean. Like, nah, dude, just surely you touch Fated Ashes.
All this does is bring Fiddlesticks into the meta. That's all I'm saying.
Fiddlesticks is, he's an interesting case actually, isn't he? Yeah, well, good old Fiddlesticks. What happened to him?
So it's been interesting because I was chatting with a couple analysts, and I Molecule on Twitter was saying, like, actually he reckons Fiddlesticks is really strong right now. It's just such a weird, like, clear that junglers don't want to put the time into learning such a distinctive champion.
That's also quite true. It's effort. No, you're not wrong. And we know pro players are lazy. Like, they genuinely, it is something to learn, and that is a barrier for entry. Plus, in professional coordinated play, it is easy to disrupt. So
for sure.
Yeah, that could be a thing. I think he's more of a solo queue based champion anyway than professional play. Not to say that he can't work in professional play, but just like he kind of thrives in more chaotic situations and less vision, essentially a less controlled map where Fiddlesticks can get some good ultimates off. That's what he wants to do. Either way, there's no Fiddlesticks in this game. Brand's been powering through the jungle, got his Fated Ashes on his first clears, taken his Grump. And he's now on to his walls again. Essentially very similar to what Xin Zhao's done, except Brand was able to pick up 2 crabs. Both crabs. Which
I saw him miss most of that wave there, by the way.
We didn't see it. No. Definitely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, pretty even stuff so far here across the boards early on in this game.
Yeah, not too much going on. We'll have Grub spawning shortly, and that might be a point of concern because Brand notoriously does those very, very quickly, but no early ganks, especially laning has been pretty nominal. The Corki initially ahead of the Tristana, bot lane the Zeri slightly ahead of the Hui, but that's kind of it. Not really seen anything super exciting so far into the game. Just been us musing about various things like Fated Ashes really is. Maybe this might be the moment, as Nilla might look to go all out. In that moment, I say there's not been much action. We get a flash in top lane, as Nilla was debating an all-out to drag Lenny towards his jungler.
Thinking about it. There is no flash. It's pretty as well, but I don't think he's enough.
Yeah.
No, he's getting out of that one. The minion wave pushing into Nilla is a problem for Lenny here. As Joker though is just gonna go for those grubs, as you mentioned, does them very quickly. Xin Zhao responding with the dragon as well. Just a little handshake here of objectives, no harm, no foul. So we're gonna get a pretty aggressive trade in mid. Fierce is in trouble. Is he gonna die? No, he's vibing. He was on like, he got knocked down to like 20%.
Got a little low.
Yeah.
He's got pots and fleet footwork. He's fine. Just gonna be fine.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's also got an early cloth armor going into Ninja Tabby, so he's
hell yeah,
he'll be vibing here. Oh, you mentioned, by the way, Tristana not being a Ninja Tabby champion. Hunt's first item.
There you go, first item Ninja Tabbies. There you go, rapid fire on the Tristana.
Yeah.
Gonna be all the attack speed she needs right now as top slide. Nilla will go all out. Lenny will run him into a wall briefly, but Yoka is here with a Pyroclasm available. A Q3 comes on down, and the Scorpion is looking pretty charbroiled to me. Goes unstoppable to immune the Impale, and Nilla gets away with it. First blood over towards Yoka's Brand.
Very nice stuff. It's all lined up perfectly for Yoka here. Like, this top crab even spawned after the grub, so he literally grubs crab, got the respawn on Lenny, and yeah, the poor wave position there, unfortunately, meant that Lenny kind of needed some help from his jungler. to reset the wave, but it just wasn't happening when your jungler's on Dragon. Like, he's not there, he can't help you, so that does put you in a really sour spot. And yeah, easy first blood there for Yoka, who now is taking the top side from Theo, but unfortunately he's not going to take any more, which is going to mean he's going to be falling behind just the one camp here.
Yeah, gets away the blue buff and that Gromp, which feels like an okay-ish trade in terms of at least getting something. But the problem is the Brand is still going to out-farm you. He's one of the very fastest farming junglers in the game, especially with Fated Ashes and Haunting guys in inventory. Those camps will disappear now. A few points have gone in the various abilities.
Absolutely. Fated Ashes itself is just a complete crazy power spike for any AP jungler. Something I noticed, by the way, I know this is a little bit old, what's the word? Outdated now. But Bitsail on Karthus didn't go Fade Ashes, by the way. He rushed Malignance without Fade Ashes.
He did, yeah.
So, yeah, it's not 100% necessary, but it is certainly extremely strong, especially if you have dots already in your kit like Brand does. It's really a no-brainer here. And curious as well, he's most likely going to be skipping Blackfire Torch. That's not going to be a thing for him in this game. He's going straight into the Leandries, most likely into the Rileys, which is a build that's been getting a bit more popularity recently instead of the double burn.
I think Blackfire was an item that people were really excited about, that maybe people, now they've played with it a bit more, have kind of realized, maybe not entirely necessary, especially in the jungle where you get a lot of mana anyway, so you don't need that much out of a Lost Chapter, and there are other more efficient ways to build. Getting Rylai's on Brand always feels really good, similarly on Lilia. We'll note, of course, we saw that a look in bot lane that didn't really amount to all that much, so we'll leave that there as, again, a relatively slow game. As Ecstasy, not going to face check the Alistair, who is resetting anyway.
Only 1,000 gold in it so far. Most of that, though, difference in the jungle, and purely it's a farm situation here, right? Almost 30 CS up is Yoka over Theocast here. 2 levels as well. Okay, just the one, but still a whole level difference.
Level in a bit.
I mean, the difficulty, right, with Xin Zhao in this game here is you're playing Xin into Brand. Brand is going to clear faster than you. That's just how it goes, right? That's how it happens. You're not trying to keep up with Brand. You're trying to outpace him as far as ganks and impact on the map goes. If you're playing this farm game against Brand, you will lose. You know, and to be totally honest, you're kind of nullifying the point of picking Xin in the first place. If we come out a lane phase 15-20 minutes into the game, you know, and Xin hasn't been able to get a few kills for his team, then this Xin pick is just suboptimal. It's just not it, you know. It's not like he wants to scale before he can take on. It's not like a Viego, let's say, right, who's someone who can be perfectly happy with going a little bit chill early and then become that like 1v1 monster and that team fight like god. Since that wants to do things early, he's not been able to do it so far for Venomcrest. That is actually quite a big worry point.
Worth calling out here as well, of course, the draft was slightly mixed up, by the way. So the champions for Venomcrest were actually Nords and vice versa. It was Lingard playing the way, which is a little bit more on theme. We know they do love those AP carries in the bot side, so worth just calling that out for those who are a little bit of an eyebrow raise as to what the difference between picks and bans and the actual game state has been. Worth noting here as well, the Luden's companion locked in nice and early for the way, trying to be as obnoxious with that poke as they can be.
Exactly as you say. A bit different for having a burn build on the other side, but considering Hui is also the only magic damage threat for Venomcrest, it makes more sense to have a bit more of a carry, kind of burst focused itemization. There's a lot of squishies on the side of Nord, especially with those carries, right? There's some front line, but apart from that, you can one-shot Zeri, Tristana, Brand pretty easily. We might get a contest though for this dragon spawning in just a few. Well, it's just come up. Both teams are in the area at this point. Both junglers in the area as well. We'll finally get to see the power potentially of this Brand slash Xin Zhao.
Romeo nearly face check, but puts the ward down wisely. Yoka here as well. It will be a 3v3, fleeing his Ecstasy as he's hit with a Grim Visage.
Ooh, that's
has
pretty
to back
big.
away as the chunk comes on through.
Yeah, that's quite a significant chunk as well for Ecstasy. Half his HP there allows Xin Zhao to secure this bot crab, which is pretty significant as well in the in the grand scheme of things for this dragon. Yeah, this has surely just got to be Venomcrest dragon now, especially with that mid prio as well. NORD not going to be able to do anything about this, and for the first time this game, Yoka's tempo in his jungle clears has been disrupted. He spent a good minute down here not doing anything, and he's not happy about that one. He recalls. I'm curious to see what he's going to try and do with this recall. Is he going to go to what is he going to? Yeah, I'm actually just curious. I don't know what he's going to try and do with that reset. He is moving topside with his bot lane here, so maybe like an invade into the top jungle or something.
Or maybe just trying to get a shove onto this top lane to get some more plates onto Ecstasy, who's 3 CS off completing the cull, which would be a pretty big deal in terms of trying to snowball that. You can see Tristana as well getting towards completing her own cull as well, and they are clearly playing more of the scaling game. The issue is, of course, Venomcrest have got 3 of the 6 scrubs and both early dragons. They're in a pretty good spot now macro-wise, because if it gets another dragon spawn and NORD try to play for turrets or whatever, they could start being in a really tricky position in terms of the macro later on, when they had damned if you do, damned if you don't around Dragon and Baron for Soul.
So actually, as you mentioned, 2 dragons early when you split the grubs is certainly be pleased with that one if you're Venomcrest. Lenny, oh my goodness. Okay.
Looking for that one, a flash away from the brand keeps him alive, but Lenny was definitely feeling like he could look for a play there, as they read that there was a lane swap coming through themselves and wanted to try and contest.
Yeah, there was no Zinzao, unfortunately, for Venomcrest. He was in spawn the whole time that was happening. So there was actually a pretty good response by Venomcrest to realize what was going on and to have Lingard and Simpy on the top side of the map. Unfortunately, Theocast just wasn't quite around in time. But he's pairing quite nicely with his bot sides here. He's looking for these fights. He's protecting. He's shadowing very effectively. Because in a 3v3, I don't think the brand Zeri rail combo wins out quite as handily as they would like, as it would explain as well the hesitation around things like these objectives and just moving into this river.
They're on towards this Herald. This will be another neutral objective they're teleporting in, but there's a response from Nille. Already though, Romeo gets executed! The severing ball, a flash from Simpy into the backline, onto Yoka, who's jumped on afterwards with an audacious charge! Brand burns out, and they can turn back towards the Herald. The teleports are summoned, but Venomcrest pull the trigger exquisitely.
There it is, exactly as you mentioned, pulling that trigger. Easy as you like it. Romeo, who is very good at his aggressive plays, sometimes to his discredit, can get caught a little bit out of position or be looking perhaps too aggressively. But for him, he just got popped instantly. Didn't get his ult, no summoners, nothing like that. The damage from Venomcrest and Lingard especially, my goodness, absolutely destroyed Romeo. And there wasn't much left for Brand to do either if you're getting flashed on by an Alistar. That's just a tough situation when a Brand's very telegraphed weaknesses is his lack of mobility. So great stuff here early game, despite being down 1,000 gold still. That being in the top and in the jungle. Venomcrest have had everything early. 2 dragons, splitting the grubs, and now winning that fight and getting the Herald.
I mean, that will be a whole deal, won't it? The fact that they have managed to get a hold of these early objectives, that they have got themselves to the point where they can put the Herald down. It's where the gold is. Well, that most of this gold is in the Cassante. You're kind of somewhat okay to trade that with the Skarner, who's like, okay, I'm a bit behind, but not to the point where this game is unplayable. Knowing that the flash was off Yoka, they could go for that engage, they get another neutral objective, and that's worth a fair amount of gold in and of itself, and Theocax even gets to come in and nab a camp there on the way out.
And he's caught up here in levels as well. He may be 30 CS down.
Hang on, Ecstasy.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Oh, Ecstasy is dangerous.
Good TP.
This might get a bit interesting as the teleports are coming on through. Romeo gets a huge Magna Storm, and Venomcrest, I don't know about this one, it's pretty deep. Yoka trying to burn down Lingard, who's in a tricky position themselves, throws down the pool of reflection. The fleeting coach try and buy some space, but Simpy falls down. Ecstasy claims that kill. We'll hop on board for a bit more, and Venomcrest, I don't know about that.
Great teleport though. What a response from NORD to join in that one and punish Venomcrest for their over-aggression. That's 3 deaths on their side right there for nothing at the end as well. Plus NORD was able to defend that bot turret, and most likely my anticipation is that Tristana's going to get this bot turret too. It doesn't take her too long to take down a turret either. So very nicely done. There it is. What a great turnaround for NORD right there. And look at that gold. What the hell happened there? We're almost 4,000 gold difference now. Bloody hell. I don't know how that happened, but either way, that is that's gone from like, a 1k difference and not being a huge deal to what the hell? 4,000. Yeah, I agree. Technical bug. There's gold coming out of places we don't know where it's coming out from.
3 kills and a turret apparently is enough to bring them to that lead, but I grant you, that was a rapid swing in the favor of NORD there, who were ahead slightly in the goal, but not that much. And that is a huge, huge moment for them when it felt like a lot of those grouped up plays were starting to look Venom Crest favored, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. It was all Venom Crest, really, wasn't it? Like, this is the thing. Like, we saw right from the get-go, I would say the tempo and yeah, the brand was pulling ahead of Zin, and I was like, uh-oh, it's looking a little bit scary. But then they actually started skirmishing a little bit and grouping up a tad more. And it was all Venom Crest. It was all Venom Crest. They got the poke down onto Lingard onto Ecstasy from Lingard, which secured them a dragon. Then they got a pick onto Romeo around the Herald, which secured them that as well. They were just executing these objective setups really, really well, and it was great. And it was going perfectly, all in their favor. It was sexy. It was great. Unfortunately, they overstepped. Right? They went for the dive. Didn't work. Teleport response and counter and yeah, it just all fell apart. And suddenly, like, I generally don't know how, but 4,000 gold is the goal difference right here. Just like that. Incredible.
Well, the refs have looked into it, and apparently the gold lead is legit, so there you go. They are now up a significant amount of gold, and you can see where it all is. A lot in the brand's favour, but now the Tristana as well, beginning to get a bit more of that gold in. The Cull cash in as well adds on top of the 2 kills just picked up. Hunt ready to go on his namesake and try and bring down some of the members of Venom Crest.
He's going to try his best for sure. He's already pushed his way to some success this game and earned himself a gold bounty, albeit only 150 so far, but still 2 kills under his name. He's going to be happy about that one. Dragon has now spawned, and remember, Venom Crest were able to secure both dragons early here. They were able to pick this one up. It would put them on sole point, but now a pretty significant deficit as far as gold goes. NORD might look to contest.
And I guess something about Romeo gets a Magna Storm onto a couple, some damage back, but Simply still pretty tanky. Jor getting the backline, that's way too deep! The Pyroclasm gets the damage back, but in one way, the damage already done as the Impale comes on down. Hunt shut down, Lingard picks it up.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that play, but that was an aggressive one from Yoka there, wasn't it? Slightly questionable,
That's a way of
perhaps.
putting it. Questionable is perhaps exactly the term.
I mean, it's Brand, right? When you're playing Brand, if you can get a combo on a carry and pop your ultimate down and just spread that across, you will most likely win a team fight. I think that was his look. It did not work out. And yeah, unfortunately for NORD, it's such a confusing game here because they seem to be able to just constantly be ahead in gold. Even when they were losing all the objectives, they were still ahead. It wasn't too much, but they were still ahead. Then they got that significant lead. And still, it doesn't matter. When it comes down to this objective setup, when it comes down to these fights, Venom Crest have NORD's number. Lingard will be able to walk away from this one as well. There's now 3 dragons. Next one will be Soul if Venom Crest can secure it.
And there's a couple people here who would be pretty nasty with that Cloud Soul as well. The Shin's out, the Alistair, even the Skarner actually gets to press R and drag you back way further with that increased movement speed on R, and makes NORD's life a lot trickier now. We kind of called it out a little earlier that the early dragon stacking was going to prove problematic macro-wise as the game went on if they allowed it to go on for free. Well, they tried to make it not happen for free and unfortunately gave up a number of kills in the mid lane, and now they are going to be in a difficult position come 4 minutes. They'll be Baron alive, but so will Soul.
That's it. And now NORD's hand will be forced, right? As you mentioned, like the timings here for this Soul, right? I can't imagine any of these 2 teams are going to be rushing Baron, right? So I would not be too surprised to see Dragon be up with Baron, right? Both these objectives up at the same time, which could cause quite a tricky situation, to be perfectly honest, where, you know, where it becomes one of those macro calls. And I just want to hark back to NORD's game versus, I can't remember who it was, but do you remember that game they were getting slapped about and then Nile made the call to get a pick into topside? And it was like one of the greatest macro calls in the history of League of Legends. I can't remember what game it was. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm struggling. I know what you're talking about, but I cannot for the life of me. Yeah.
Yeah,
either
either
way,
way,
scrub the scoreboards.
Yeah, it was insane. It was great. And NORD basically, NORD have it. You know, they have it in their locker to pull out some sick macro plays. And this is exactly the kind of situation now where you can flex that. You can demonstrate that, right? And this could be when NORD finds their way back into the game, so to speak, which is weird to say when they've been ahead in gold the entirety of the game. But
Objectively, though, yeah, exactly. Or objective-wise, rather, yeah, to clarify. And I think, I know you said that neither team would want to rush Baron, but I wonder with Brand plus double AD carries and double attack speed AD carries, whether they might be able to do it. If Casante's there frontlining for NORD, they might be able to consider a Baron rush if Venom Crest take their eyes off it, but would be bold nonetheless.
Yeah, that is a good word for it. It would be bold. I don't think it's going to happen, like a Baron rush. I mean, the damage for Nash from NORD is pretty incredible, mind you, right? Like, it's Brand, Tristana,
Sure.
Zeri, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly,
It's really high, so there's a potential there, right? And this is what I mean about, like, some kind of macro play where they pull Venom Crests around the map, because there's lots of different points here, especially with this dragon spawning, where you want to be on the map, where Venom Crests will want to be. And we'll see how they're able to kind of actually play the map, because it isn't going to be an easy situation here, but we could also just be mega overthinking it, right? Because the advantage is in Venom Crest's pocket, right? Because they have that 3 dragon advantage already.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to pick up Soul off the back of that as well. And they've been winning all these fights.
Exactly that. They have a little bit more freedom in terms of where they want to be on the map, whether they want to take a 5v5 or trade those big neutral objectives, either of which would be a huge boon for them. A single dragon means very little to NORD. It means a lot to Venom Crest at this point. Minute and 20 until that threat comes alive, and Venom Crest are currently ensuring they have vision control over the Baron pit in particular.
Downside though for Venom Crest's comp is their Nash damage is significantly worse than NORD.
That's fair.
I don't think you'd be able to, for example, trade a dragon for a Baron in the same way as you might be able to if you were NORD. Although NORD wouldn't want to do that with Soul being up, but still, that kind of thing, right? So you should be able to instead just be like, okay, we're chilling. Let's play a little bit more for Dragon, the Dragon side of the map here. Secure this vision. 40 seconds until it spawns is where things start heating up here.
2 items complete nearly across the board. I'll note that Shinzao hasn't quite managed to do that yet, whereas the Rylai's just completed by the likes of Yorka might be a deal breaker here in this fight.
It'll be very, very powerful, at least, if you can spread that burn across and slow people down. People like Hui specifically, not going to be happy about running with a limp. That would be difficult for a champion that otherwise doesn't really have any mobility in his kit. NORD setting up the trap.
Well spotted by the wind becomes lightning from Theocax, who had an idea that there might be some people hanging around in that bush, and he was right to assume that. Throw down the control ward, but NORD are going to start off this dragon pretty early on. It'll burn down pretty fast. We said their neutral objective damage is solid. Venom Crest, though, looking to come on in here, down to 4,000 HP as the dragon. Theocax now over there as Nile goes unstoppable briefly. Does not get onto anyone valuable as yet. The Grim Visage onto Romeo makes his life very difficult in the back line. Theocax buying some space with the Crescent Guard. They've got 2 already. They could get the soul as well. It's all gone wrong for NORD, who are melting in the face of Venom Crest's poison.
That's got to be it right at this point. Surely that's just running straight to Nash. You picked that one up as well alongside the Dragon Soul. That is a significant advantage in the side of Venom Crest. And for the first time this game, 25 minutes in, despite having total control from start to finish, really, so far. For the first time, it's a gold lead in their pocket as well.
And they are 2,000 gold. They've got Soul themselves. They're about to get Baron for even more of it. And look how many structures are still standing on the map. They've got the 3 outer turrets, but they've got all of those juicy inners to start breaking through and really building a gold lead in this game.
There's Baron Asher as well. For different side lanes, can be quite scary. Yeah, this could be quite a big pick though if Fierce goes down, because you don't want him to have Nash playing inside. I don't think Nile can catch him though.
Yeah, he's still pretty fast here with his tier 2 boots. Gets slowed by the Q3 and the Iceborne Gauntlet. Should have Valkyrie up again pretty shortly, and they realise they're not going to be able to catch him in any reasonable time frame.
That's Cloud Soul, baby. Look at him go.
It's too much, I know.
He's got the Night Dunk song and he's out of there. He's just Swifty, just gone. Can't be chasing that one. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one here for NORD. They're really staring down it. 25 minutes into the game. You've got Dragon Soul on the other side. Baron as well here too. It's a toughie, honestly. They're not been winning any team fights either. Like, what do you think? Like, what's the way back into
So yeah,
this game.
we both got that word. That apparently someone has a mosquito issue. So I'm assuming that we've got some insect concerns. Actually, I've got a reason for the pause. Here we go. See if I can read this up. I need to pull this over to the screen where I can read it. But yeah, a mosquito issue apparently. Apparently it's Simpy. Is the one with the mosquito in the room. So send your love and raid cans over to Simpy, who is struggling with blood-sucking monstrosities in his room.
Yeah, sure. He thought it was just NORD that sucks here, but apparently it's the things in his room too. Yeah, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. Thoughts and prayers to Simpy. Hopefully he gets through that and can sort it out.
You did that deadpan, man, and they're the second best team in the league. You can't just like throw them under the
That's
bus
why
like that.
I can,
That's
because they'll get over it.
Drop kick them.
They're on a 4-5 game win streak, whatever it is. I'm sure they can take it. Yeah, it's not often you get an opportunity to dunk on NORD. That's a compliment. So there you go. When the opportunity arises,
4 in a
you
row,
must.
looking like if they were 4 wins in a row, I'm not sure they'll be keeping that streak up. Unfortunately, of course, the game not quite over yet. Feels as good as. There's a lot of this Baron still to go as Fierce trading out with Hunt, but look who else is here. The rest of Venom Crest, who once again proves Snakes apparently hunt in packs. And this Tristana was not ready for all the additional damage coming his way, and the Tristana falls again.
It's a toughie. 2-0-1 was Hunt at the beginning of this game. 2-2-1 finds himself now not being able to have too much impact. He's been matched at every corner by this Corki, just Corki or the Skarner. Either way, can't break through him. It's just an unassailable task at this point. Jake's mentioned it a few times on the desk. He doesn't like Tristana into Corki. He just thinks it doesn't do enough. To nullify how strong Corki is as a pick. And to be perfectly honest, like apart from the first 5 levels in the lane phase, it does kind of seem that way. Honestly, it does kind of seem like Corki just is inevitable, right? Like you can't get past it. And Tristana, we've seen some good Tristana plays, mind you. Like she's certainly a strong pick in her own right. But this constant Tristana Corki matchup does seem to favor Corki.
I wonder whether it's an ERL thing, whereas I feel like Tristana, you have to be really coordinated as a team to give her free time with turrets, which is one of her really big strengths in the way that Corki, a bit more of the AoE damage for free is perhaps a little bit easier to execute in terms of, well, we just brawl a lot down in ERLs, and we do love to see that happen as footworks his way over a wall with a little assistance from Pathmaker, but the turrets are all still breaking. All the same though, NORD hold on to the game for now, but for how much longer? The Gold League continues to grow as their base becomes increasingly less safe. Inhibitor in the mid lane under siege now.
It's tough, innit? They've lost mid tower, top tower, soon to be mid inhib as well. Can NORD find the fight? My goodness, that way damage is mega.
Yeah, it is. And on the other side, Simpy just tanks up the entire brand combo to little avail because he's got an R button to press as Romeo needs to crash down out to safety as Lenny goes to the edge of Ixtal into the Impale. And the damage is done, but Simpy dies for it. Nille goes all out trying to hold on to members. The every bolt again just doesn't miss. Lingard makes his name known in the league. Theocax gets another. Romeo and Nille must back towards their own inhibitor turret. No way to save their nexus right now. No wave clear to be found. Venom Crest will move to 8 and 4. NORD humbled here in this second game of the week.
Both these teams now are going to be drawn at 8 and 4. Coming into this game, NORD were the favourites. They'd had a better showing of things, better recent history in these games on that win streak. But Venom Crest, to be perfectly honest, made it look easy. Like they did not struggle at all in that matchup. And it has to be said as well, what is important here. When teams have matching scores, I mean, we've still got 2 more games to play. We've still got next week, obviously. But if Venom Crest and NORD find themselves at tied in the standings, Venom Crest now have the head-to-head, right? They beat them last time. They beat NORD last time they met. They beat them this time as well. So that could be really important moving forwards here. And NORD, who was looking like they were solidly, our second best team in the league, to be perfectly honest, might find themselves being knocked down a peg to 3rd or even 4th.
Well, they get to that 8-win mark and it raises the barrier to entry to the bracket stage, the playoffs with that as well, and makes the life of Lightside a lot harder. They'll still have a matchup against the side of Venom Crest later on in the split, which might allow them to turn their fortunes around, but that will be for another day. We're going to cut to a break, and when we come back, the desk will break it all down.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.